What's going on, everybody? Khalipa's Tech here, coming at you with 10 more tips and tricks for the Samsung Galaxy A53 5G. Now, before we go any further, I do want to remind you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you want to learn more about this phone, be sure to check out my full review and other tips and tricks videos for it as well. But with that being said, let's get right into it. So the first thing I want to show you is a feature called Palm Swipe to Capture. This is basically an alternate way of taking a screenshot. In case you don't know, taking a screenshot is really easy. All you need to do is press these two buttons, the power key and the volume down key at the same time, just like this. And there we go, screenshot has been taken. This little bar is going to show up, and that's pretty much it. But if you want a fancier, slightly more convenient way to do it, all you need to do is swipe your palm across the screen like this, and it's going to take a screenshot. Now, is this really that much more useful? Probably not. I mean, pressing these buttons isn't very hard, but at the same time, when it comes to phones, it's always nice to have more than one way to do something. And speaking of screenshots, the next thing I want to show you is some different settings you can change for both screenshots and screen recordings. So to get to this menu, it's pretty simple. What you're going to want to do is go to settings, which you can get to either by pulling down this shade and hitting the little gear right here, or you can open the settings app, which is somewhere in your app drawer. I personally have it on my home screen, and in case you don't know how to do that, all you need to do is go to the app drawer, press and hold on the settings app, and drag it to wherever you want on your home screen. So there, I have two settings apps now, but you get the picture. So anyway, with that out of the way, back to the screenshots and screen recordings. So what we're going to do is go to settings. From here, go down to advanced features. And from this menu, go to screenshots and screen recorder. So we got a few different things here. The first one is screenshot toolbar. Now this is on by default and you've probably noticed it by now. Whenever I take a screenshot, it's going to show that little toolbar down here, which can be really useful. But if you don't want it to show up, all you need to do is toggle this off. And then whenever you take a screenshot, nothing is going to show up. The next thing we have, and I think this one is really useful, is hide status and navigation bars. With this on, basically whenever I take a screenshot, it's not actually going to show the status and navigation bar. So as you can see here, we got a real clean looking screenshot, no status bar here, and no navigation bar either. After that, we got delete shared screenshots, so that's pretty self-explanatory. If you press that share button as soon as you take the screenshot, it's going to delete right after you send it. Now, screenshot format, this is pretty situational. I don't really think you're going to need it too often, but if you want, you can change your screenshots from JPGs to PNGs. Now for the screen recorder, we got sounds. Now this is kind of redundant because whenever you take a screen recording, it's going to ask you this anyway, but you can choose between media sounds, no sound, or media sounds and mic if you want to narrate it. Then for video quality, by default, it is going to be 1080p, the resolution of the display, but you can also change it to 720p or 480p. And then selfie video size, if you're recording yourself while you're recording the screen, you can make it either larger or smaller. And show taps and touches. Again, this is pretty redundant because it is going to ask you this whenever you make a screen recording. But if you want to enable it by default, I guess you can turn it on here. But that's pretty much it for screenshots and screen recordings. There's not a whole lot, but there's definitely a little bit to play around with. Now the next thing we're going to go over is some NFC settings. In case you ever do need to see the settings, what we're going to do is go to settings right here. From here, go to connections and go to NFC and contactless payments. By default, it is on. From here, you can go to contactless payments and you can change your default payment service. So it's always going to be Google Pay by default. But if you have Samsung Pay, you can use that. As you can see, I have Amex Pay here. And if you want to pay with the currently open app, you can do this as well. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to change your display's color mode. So what you're going to do is go to settings. From here, go to display. Tap right here where it says screen mode. And as you can see, by default, it is going to be on vivid, and this is basically going to give you brighter and bolder colors. Pretty cool. But if you want more natural looking colors, you can go natural. And as you can see, it's not going to be quite as strong, but some people might like it like this. It looks a little bit more realistic, I guess. I personally like to leave it at vivid. Now, if you want, you can also change the white balance, make it warmer. You can also go to advanced settings and change the actual RGB. Now, I personally don't do any of this, but if you have a specific preference, you can always mess around with it. The next thing we're going to look at is a feature called One-Handed Mode. This is basically going to shrink all of this down to a size you can use with literally one hand. It's probably easier if I just show you. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure the feature is enabled. To do this, we're going to go to settings, go to advanced features, go to one-handed mode right here, and as you can see, it is on, If it's not on yours, simply toggle it on. Now there are two different ways to activate it. One is from a gesture, going like this. And the other is double tapping the home button, so like this. Either way, it's really easy, but keep in mind if you do have gesture navigation instead of button navigation, you're obviously going to have to stick with the gesture option. But regardless, let's go into one-handed mode right now. So essentially, this is what one-handed mode looks like. As you can see, it's kind of on the wrong side of the screen right now. To fix that, I'm going to hit this arrow right here. And there we go. Now it's basically a mini display, so I don't need to reach my hand all the way around and risk dropping the phone when I'm using one hand. If you want, you can also resize it. And to go back to normal, tap anywhere on the blank space like this. And that's pretty much it. One-handed mode sounds a little complicated at first, but it's actually really easy to use, and in certain situations, it's definitely a nice thing to have. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to activate dark mode. All you need to do is go to settings. From here, go to display. As you can see, dark mode is right here. You can also customize some settings here. So you can schedule it to turn on from sunset to sunrise, or a completely custom time. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is some things you can do with the theme. Now there are several different things you can do. The first one is just the color scheme. So if we go to settings, go to wallpaper. So we have the general wallpaper right here, but you can also change the color palette. You can make it match your wallpaper, and you can apply it to the icons as well. Now if you really want to go crazy with customization, you can also change the whole theme. To do this, press and hold your finger on the home screen like this. From here, go to themes. And as you can see, there are a ton of different themes here to choose from. And don't worry, not all of them cost money. There are also plenty of free themes to choose from. So if you really want your home screen to look unique, there are plenty of things you can choose here. The next thing I'm going to show you is a bunch of different ways you can turn your screen on and off. These are all from the gestures menu, and they're so similar, I thought I'd just put them all into one thing. So here we go. The first thing is double tap to turn the screen on and off. So by default, this is all activated. If you double tap the screen like this, it's going to turn it off. Double tap again, turns it right back on. And then if you don't want to do this, because I understand how it could get annoying, you're going to want to go to settings. From here, go to advanced features. Go to motions and gestures. And double tap to turn on screen, double tap to turn off screen. You can turn these both off. So now if we go back home, it's not going to work anymore. And then if we turn it off, same kind of thing. And the other feature we got here is lift to wake. Now as you can see, by default this is not on. So if we turn off the screen, put it down, pick it up, it's not going to do anything. But with lift to wake on, now if we put the phone down, pick it up, it's going to turn right back on. So those are definitely some of the lesser gesture features. They don't really make a huge difference, but they can be either convenient or annoying depending on how you use your phone. So I definitely recommend giving them a try. If you like them, cool. If you don't, you can always turn them off. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is how you can change the layout of the grid on your home screen. Now I personally really like the layout of the screen already. The icons are nice and large, definitely more minimalistic, looks really nice and modern. But if you want to fit more apps on the screen, maybe something like the Moto G Power where you can get an extra app on the row, if you want to do that, you actually can with this phone. So we're going to go to the home settings by pressing and holding on the home screen like this. From here, go to settings. And from here, go to home screen grid. By default, it is 4x5, but you can also change it to 5x5 or 5x6. So if you want to, you really can fit a lot more on the screen. Now the last thing I'm going to show you is how to customize your quick menu. Now throughout this video and pretty much all my tips and tricks videos for that matter, you've probably seen me use this right here. And this is the quick menu. Actually, I don't know exactly what it's called, but I call it the quick menu. Regardless of the actual proper name, this is basically a bunch of shortcuts for different features, like for example, power saving mode. You can turn on your hotspot, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, even dark mode and do not disturb. But one thing you can also do is customize what shows up on here so you can have all the most useful stuff to you. So to do this, you're going to hit the plus right here. And as you can see, this is the stuff you can add, and this is all the stuff you have on your screen currently. So for example, if you want to get rid of something like link to Windows, if you're never going to use that, press and hold, drag it off. And if you want to add something new, do the same kind of thing. If you want to put everything back, you can also hit reset. And once you're done making changes, be sure to hit done, don't hit the back button, otherwise it's not going to change anything. But those were 10 more tips and tricks for the Samsung Galaxy A53 5G. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you found this information useful as well. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And again, if you want to learn more about this phone, be sure to check out my full review and other tips and tricks videos for it as well. But that's it for this video. As always, I will see you in the next one.